This video is made possible by Practical Defense Systems, the best online security training at the lowest prices. You can start your security career today online at pdsclasses.com. Check them out. Hi, I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for all of your support of GunGuyTV. I'm extremely grateful for everything that you do. We have a rather short video for you because the Department of Justice in the state of California has been forced to reopen the bullet button assault weapons registration, which is a good thing on the one hand because we won a court battle, but on the other hand, it could be a little sneaky and a little bit difficult to navigate. And so I've got Rick Travis with me, and it took a while for us to get together because it's getting kind of late on a Friday night, but we wanted to make sure we did this for you. So help us out, Rick. What's happening with this? What has DOJ done? Why did they do it? And what's the deal as far as we know so far?
So as you said, Joel, DOJ did lose the lawsuit, and the lawsuit had to do with there were several people that attempted to register their firearm prior to the July 1st, 2018 date. And what had happened was there were glitches in the California DOJ system. Nobody was shocked about that because DOJ had actually told the legislature, we're not prepared to do any of this stuff. We don't have the technology. We're not, equipped to do it. But that has never stopped our legislature, as you know, and as your people that watch this show all the time know, we constantly say the legislature comes up with crazy ideas that even the DOJ says, like, what are you doing to us? And I know you've talked to some of the people in law enforcement. I have family in law enforcement. That tends to be a reoccurring theme. And so in the process of losing this, the DOJ has now, in their brilliance or lack thereof, depending on your take, has come up with a couple things. So number one, if you possess a firearm prior to January 1st, 2017, that was for lack of better words, eligible, could be registered under the assault weapons registration period here, then you can now try to register it if, and this is the second part of it, and where the devil's in the details, you had tried to do that honestly before July 1st, 2018, and are willing under penalty of perjury to swear to that. And here's where the catch is. No one knows, how does one verify that they actually tried to register prior to July 1st, 2018 and couldn't because of a glitch? Because those glitches incurred everything from, Joel, you actually going through the whole process and it kicking you out, like happens to us on various websites. That happens all the time. You get dropped, booted out, have to redo it. But for all those times that that's ever happened, could you ever prove that it actually ever happened, regardless of,
I don't trust the California Department of Justice as far as I could pick up and throw my house.
Right.
This just sounds like a booby trap to me, but that's just
and it could be. And so one of the things our lawyers are looking at this is, it was released today. And so we're on top of it, but we're trying to get some phone calls returned. And as you know, when you call the DOJ, it's like the eternal hold. I think the only thing is as bad as that is when I try to call the trash company to talk to them about giving me a rent bin. I can be on for hours when I'm trying to pay them money or do something. It's amazing how government works. Some of the concerns I have personally for people is, I think there was some people that for various reasons wanted to go ahead and register and missed the deadline. I would strongly advise towards using this as your loophole to now register because how do you prove any of this? And you shouldn't perjure yourself, so don't do that. But if you did try to do this and now want to do this, but I have several concerns, as I think you probably do, Joel, of this is just fraught with issues. And in a world that we're fairly distrusting because the government has showed its lack of fairness and equity when it comes to voting machines and various other things I know you've talked about on the show and we've talked about offline, I have some real issues with this.
Well, I mean, the truth is, as much as I certainly don't want to beat up on the individual agents because many of them are excellent, actually pro Second Amendment, and many of them have gone out of their way not to arrest people or not to confiscate things and to help people manage the process. I think more so in the last year than before. So I don't want to beat up on them but too much, but there are some gun Nazis in there. I mean, don't think there aren't. But nevertheless, there have been people who have lost firearms over this stuff, over technical glitches in this system. There are people who've come very close to being arrested for felonies over glitches in this stupid system. And this thing is a glitch fest. And now with what you just read, and that's all, you might be watching this thinking, well, how come you don't have more information? It's because there isn't any at this moment. And so we've just given you all the information there is to be had. The rest is just conjecture and guessing. But even there, even with the information that you have, it's still, there's 17 different ways, it would seem, to run afoul of this thing and end up losing the rifle that you have and end up going to jail. I mean, even if you did try to do it before, and now you go to try to do it again, and then subsequent to that, they come up with some draconian requirement that you have to prove that you tried to do it before. And even though you're being honest about it, if you can't prove it, there goes your rifle. And it's under threat of, we'll take your rifle, or we'll take your rifle and we'll take you. And so you give up the rifle because you don't want to go to jail and you don't want to have the big deal going on. Boy, this is just, it's cool that we won the battle in court, but I'm not so sure that the aftermath at the moment is the safest thing to do. I don't know that I would do it personally. Don't take that as advice, but I wouldn't do it personally. I'd make the gun featureless and just move on. That's what I'd do.
The other concern I would have is we, are finishing up the legislature tonight, which is while I'm still working. And, yesterday we had a series of two bills that look very similar, because one's called Assembly Bill 173, one's called Senate Bill 173. And Joel, you and I never talked about them. And the reason we never talked about them was because up until a day ago, they are the budget bill. So it's the bill, that's why they have the same number, only one's in the Senate, one's in the Assembly to pass the state budget. It turned out that the chair of that committee that does the budget was also the author of a bill that we did talk about that we got defeated earlier in the year. And that bill was the one that would take your information, my information, any of the people watching this information, and give it to the safest place that you could ever store your personal information, which is in the research lab at the University of California, Davis on gun violence.
Sure.
Research that if anybody in law enforcement wanted to get on you, they would have to get a little thing called a warrant, which means they'd have to make a case, go to a judge, get a judge to give the warrant. And the whole process as I do from former careers. Now, supposedly, we can trust grad students not to give up, sell your information, or give it away. And what he did was, when he couldn't get it passed, he buried it inside the Assembly bill by doing a gut and amend, and got it passed, and it's on its way to the governor's desk. We are already set up to do an injunction on it, but we have to wait to see what the governor's going to do. And even if we're able to recall the governor this next Tuesday, he still has about 30 to 40 days, depending on how he plays it, to still sign stuff. So just because we recall him doesn't stop his signature from going on it. So given that backdrop of how Sacramento's working, how this governor's working, and how this reads from DOJ, I agree with you. There's a lot of people in DOJ that are good friends. They're good people. They're just like you and I on the side of the Second Amendment. There's a lot of people that aren't. And the way I look at this is, it's kind of that, how I said to somebody the other day is, I'm currently remodeling part of my house, and it's like, it's amazing. You get one inspector that comes to see if you've done something right, and they're very detailed. Like, they crawl into everything, look at everything. You get another one comes in and goes, oh, who is the contractor? Okay. And they walk away. You never know what you're going to get.
No.
And yet both those signatures are equal, but one can cost you more than the other.
I'm and as a result, not with respect to the bill that got gutted and amended, but with respect to the victory in court that caused DOJ to have to reopen this process again. All I can say is, here we go again.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that we had a court victory, because anytime we get a court victory, we get to slap GOJ in the face legally and say, knock it off, which they won't. But I don't know until all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted and the details come out if I would race forward to try to register anything. First of all, I'm of the opinion, and this is just my opinion, I'm of the opinion that nothing good ever comes from registering a firearm of any kind with the government. So if you have a choice of making it featureless and just having it be a gun that isn't registered as an assault weapon, quote unquote, with the state of California, in my humble opinion as an average gun owner, that's probably a better choice. But if you really, really, really want to register it because those evil features like your flash hider are that important to you, then just be wary of the fact that the process is probably as jacked up as just about every other government process in California. This is the state where we don't have enough water, where we can't maintain our brushlands and we're burning it down all the time, where we have homeless problems all over the place we can't seem to solve. This is the state with all these issues going on, with a governor who's a complete worthless person we try to replace, and we expect them to manage this process well.
Well, and I don't think there's a rush, because obviously the federal court handed down the decision in March.
Yep.
And told DOJ to strain us out. And so let's look at the timeline. Today's September 10th, and they released this letter on a Friday.
Of course, because they don't want anybody to know.
Right. And you can't actually do anything until January 13th of 22 through April 12th of 22. So,
I didn't know about the date, so we can't even do anything until next year anyway.
Right. So this is why I've been trying to tell people, like,
the angels are singing right now.
Yeah.
Oh!
Tap the brakes and realize that the California Rifle Pistol Association is going to come out with a guide for those that wish to do it. But there's no need to rush. There's no need to have commentaries. This is not zombie apocalypse land yet. We will direct you on how to make it sure it isn't, but we've got time.
Does that mean I have to retract all my earlier commentary?
No, not at all.
Oh.
Because knowing
I'm so pleased.
knowing how slow DOJ and the government is to react and how draconian it can be when they finally do, it's all applicable.
All right. Well, anyway, we'll get you, as soon as we have more information on the whole DOJ swap, we'll let you know. I've already had dinner. I don't know about Rick. He's still working. But this wooden chair I'm sitting on my kitchen table is not the most comfortable thing in the world. And so I'm going to ring off now, and we'll just say goodnight. Thank you so much, Rick. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much for sticking with us all the way through. I do really appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend. And, of course, remember those folks who lost their lives on 9/11 20 years ago. Wherever you go or whatever you do this weekend, please stay safe.